Anyway, why would it be dirtbags would be New York City carriage horses? We all know what's going on. So, and I know about this mare for a long time. It told me Eve, her boss, the founder and Steve rehabbed her. For years, he'd ridden her, did some light jump in an arena on 4 inches of loam. They actually tried to accuse him of by riding her after she'd been on the streets for years, for God knows how long, foundering, and they didn't even know it. Because, not like the other day, Saturday or Sunday when I was at the park, I reported 5 lame horses and 3 other violations because they don't care. But I didn't know until yesterday that in a post on X by Christina Hansen, that this mare Chance, that Steve of Night Class rescued and has given a home to now for 15 years, was taken from AC4H. And then I did my digging. And sure enough, all our mutual enemies and people that you all know from AC4H, including that clown Pam Davis, who's still running her mouth about me on her empty cauldron of what she calls an equine rescue scams page, talking to herself, posts herself to her own page. Anyway, we all know that. But you know what happened with them? FBI raided them. Neglect, abuse, hands in the cookie jar, banned from taking donations. They are no longer a 501c nonprofit, and this is who she was involved with, right? Forget about that. Like I said, birds of a feather flock together. And that's why she comes on so hard, basically ripping on everybody. Oh, and by the way, the thing last year gets disposed next month, 1 year to the day from when I paid the fine. See, I fully accepted that with what I'm doing, I expose myself to certain things and I'm going to have to take certain hits. Has it stopped me? Nope. If anything, it's made me stronger. I've learned a lot along the way as to where I need to throttle myself. But that's the best they can do. They will never accept or take responsibility, accountability for their actions in the way that they treat animals and the way that they treat people. From abusing the animals to now, I had no idea. All you got to do is look it up, Another Chance for Horses or AC4H, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And all the names. So I went to that Equine Rescue Scams page last night after I texted Adita, and they were aware of it. And I said, you realize how bad that right there is? They admit that that's where they were sending their... Remember they said they had aftercare on a beautiful farm in upstate New York and in Pennsylvania? AC4H does not qualify. And where do all these horses go? Let's see. Bernard last year. Remember the one that was accidentally, in Christina Hansen's own words, accidentally sent to New Holland? How do you accidentally send a horse that was in your barn in Clinton Park Stables on 52nd Street to its death because he was lame? And nobody would ever have known had it not been for a member of our group. One thing led to another. Adita Bertrand was able to work out the deal with Copper Horse Crusade, and now that horse has a forever home at a sanctuary. But it's kind of like rats. For every rat you see running around out in the street, there's 50 more behind the walls. It's the same thing with the carriage horses. We catch one horse that was sent to a kill pen. What are the chances? I find out that before that they were associated with one of the worst, most disgusting rescues there was in the country. Makes perfect sense. I won't assume why, but I think we all know why. So again, my point is, if you read what's going on now, they are in a full-blown panic because with the Central Park Conservancy going public, writing a formal letter to both the Speaker of the City Council and the Mayor of New York that they want it banned, with a absolutely detailed list of everything that we've talked about and reported that goes on in the park, and everything that I saw again the other day, parking where they shouldn't be in front of the Conservancy signs that say no standing, carriage horses stopping on the path, anywhere they want, picking up fares, blocking what was turned into a nightmare. There was a traffic jam on the east side by the Chess and Checkers gazebo. They don't care. And who was the horse that was passing the horse that was blocked or blocking the right side of the bike path on the bridle path? Christina Hansen herself, and just ignored everybody, stacked people up behind her, doesn't care, like they own the fucking place. Well, guess what? You don't. It's been made clear that there are now, I don't know how many different people on social media that I've never seen before, to the tune of millions and millions of views on TikTok, Instagram, mostly X, Facebook, but mostly TikTok and Instagram, publicly admonishing them, screaming for it to end, to the tune of, like I said, millions of views and hundreds of thousands of likes. Hardly anybody is defending them because the city doesn't want it. The people who live in the city don't want it. The park itself went on record with ABC News 3 days ago, 2 days ago, can't remember, but if you read, it says that the Central Park Conservancy has also said that they would like this ended before next summer, if possible. That's not just asking for the ban or supporting the ban in Riders Law. That's them saying they want to evict them, revoke their privilege. It's not a right, although they'll try to convince people that it's their right. No, it's a privilege to operate as a licensed business in New York City inside that park. No different than it is a privilege to run any business in New York City with the proper qualifications, which none of them have. There isn't one fucking horseman in that entire bunch. None. And the proof is in the pudding. Again, the other day, I sent 5 different videos along with Adita Bernkrant to Alexandra Silver of the mayor's office, who's in charge of animal welfare in the city of New York, who passed it on to the DOH, along with the videos of him parked on the west side of the path over by Columbus Circle, right in front of the sign that is there, installed by the Central Park Conservancy itself, who does $200 million in work on that park with volunteers every year. The park is amazing. It really is. For such a big operation and that many people that go through it, it really is amazing to have these people basically spit in their face every day. So parked where they're not supposed to be. Bethesda Fountain, parked where they're not supposed to be. By the Chess and Checkers gazebo, which I have on video, where they're not supposed to be. They say that they stay off the bike paths, they use the bike paths because they're allowed to in the city everywhere, because they have special permission, and the NYPD does it, and that any of the manure that's on those paths is not from them because they have the little diaper bags. Well, guess what? I sent another video from the east side of the path where tag 1116 is going by. He doesn't have the bag, it's not installed properly. Horse shit's all over the path. Now, obviously, we don't care about horse shit, but when you got thousands and thousands of people going by that spot on rollerblades, scooters, pedicabs, bicycles, everything on wheels, enjoying their Sunday, and you go through wet manure, what happens? They don't care. They don't care whatsoever, and that's why they've been told that the Conservancy of the Central Park wants them gone. And it's going to happen. That's what they don't understand. They think this is a big joke and a threat. No, it's not. It's never been done before. Never before has the board or the CEO of the Central Park Conservancy, Betsy, I forget her last name, Williams? has come out and said, we've reviewed this over time. This wasn't just thrown together. This was a concise report that they've been taking their time with everything we've mentioned, and what put them over the edge was 4 loose horses running through the park because the fucking idiots don't tend to their horses. We have more video from just the other day of a horse walking away from a guy and he chases it up the path. They don't care. They don't care about the horses. They don't care about the public. They don't care about the city. They don't care about the park. They don't care about anything but themselves because they've gotten away with it for so long, and that's coming to an end quickly. So gather your troops all you want. Go on Facebook trying as much as you want. It's all failed. Get your dirtbag friends together from these people that nobody pays attention to. Right now, you have got millions and millions of interactions on social media showing the proof. It needs to go to a public referendum. That's why they're battling it, because they know they're done. So what's going to happen? Central Park is going to look to have them evicted from the park. Then where are they allowed to work? Are they going to give them free reign to use the streets again? Because remember, not so long ago, they got forced into the park to operate nowhere else because it was the safest place for the horses, not for the people. You put those horses out on the streets giving rides, forget about it. Midtown is it's absolute insanity, even with the congestion pricing, the amount of vehicles, noise, distractions, you name it. It's New York City. It is no place for a horse. Forget about the way they live. We've beaten this to death, where they say, can't keep beating a dead horse. But right now, Christina Hansen, TWU Local 100, all your members, your non-members, which are the hired drivers and the stable workers who have no protection from or benefits from TWU Local 100, which that's like saying, okay, only management and, I don't know, maybe the motormen of the subways are eligible for TWU membership and benefits. Everybody else, you're on your own. Doesn't make any sense. Why are they only protecting the people with the money? That's another battle, and that's been exposed. So let them, like I've said to Adita, I've spoken to Bob Holden, Eric Botcher, who they're using as they're using him as an example of, yeah, well, we're going to go, if you decide, and if anybody else decides to dare turn on us, you're next. Well, too bad. There is a silent majority in all this. There's a whole bunch of votes on the fence. If the city works properly, the speaker gives it a hearing, and you let the people decide. You put it out there for the people to speak. They do not want City Hall flooded with the residents of New York City around Central Park, members of the Conservancy, people who live in Midtown, business owners who live in Midtown, coming in there and saying, this has to go. Because it does have to go. It's over. Is there a way to make it better? Nope. They've been offered ways to do that. I've done it personally. All they do is curse you out. Because they don't have any intention of doing it correctly. They don't give two shits about the horses. They don't give two shits about anything. So can it be fixed? No, it's kind of like, again, like I say about harness racing. If it can't be fixed, then it has to end. Am I against it? No, I'm not against harness racing. I'm not against the idea of carriage horses. That would be fucking very hypocritical of me to say that, since I've sat in race bikes and trained horses last year and jog carts down to go to the races as of last year, end of last year. No, I think it's beautiful, done correctly. I love a horse in harness, done correctly. There's nowhere in New York City, and then they've been pitched the idea, well, if they give us a stable in Central Park, you're not getting a stable in Central Park. Central Park doesn't want you there as it is, so just shut up. So anyway, all the hens who've done nothing but abuse animals and steal from 501c3s, keep talking, nobody's listening. In the meantime, what's going on in New York City about ending the carriage horse industry that needs to go, not only is it's gathering steam, it's full-blown. We put up some responses to people on social media, attacking individuals, which isn't going to make any difference in the end. And like I said, singling out certain politicians, which isn't going to go anywhere. Rallies that they've spent God knows how much money putting together. Half-page ads in the New York Post that hasn't gotten anybody's attention except us, and we laugh about it. Photoshopping things saying that this guy did this. Eric Botcher doesn't care about the homeless. It's all been done. That's all been done. The fact remains, you haven't done the right thing. You're endangering the public. You've endangered the animals. Do they die? Yes, they do. Their answer is, oh, well, horses die. Our answer is, well, if there's a way to prevent that, and you haven't done that, that's abuse. They're not going to do that. Okay? When we buy a horse, we do an actual pre-purchase examination by a veterinarian who we trust, who will go through and find everything wrong with that horse, right down to any kind of pre-existing conditions using pre-purchase diagnostic, full spectrum, blood analysis, elevated this, that, we can tell. Hey, especially when you're buying a horse that's 15 years old and at the end of in their case, from the Amish work cycle, you know, when the Amish sells you a 15-year-old, or like Ryder, a 27-year-old, and you lie about its age so you can work it in the park. It's no different than buying a car with 400,000 miles on it. It may be running, it may be drivable, but you know you're on borrowed time. It's not going to last, and if you push it like 9-10 hours a day in the park, on asphalt, in the heat, in the cold, in a new environment that a horse has never been exposed to, like that 15-year-old standard-bred lady who went from living her life, even if she was working, on grass, on farms, where at least there was some semblance in Amish country of being a horse, to living in a 10 by 12 prison cell on, 38th Street, I think she was at. And in her own words, Hanson saying, oh, well, they all lose weight drastically the first 2 months. Do you think? Do you think, Christina? Yeah, we call that stress. And we try to avoid that in all our horses. God knows if anybody, really did any kind of examination on those horses during, or I'm sure you don't treat them for any kind of digestive issues, because that's literally what happens. Many a racehorse has issues like that, and what do trainers do? They treat them for it. You do nothing for those animals. Fucking nothing. I saw a horse go by me the other day, dead lame, with the old school plastic shoes on it, inch thick up front, nodding away. At least acknowledge as an issue. But they're not going to treat the issue, the root cause. They're going to treat the symptom. Chances are, make assumptions as to what's going on. You could all as well. We've had it all. What would cause a horse to be that sore in their feet? Doesn't matter. We would take the time to treat them every day, have a diagnosis from an equine veterinarian, and then we would make our decisions based upon all that. Okay, time off, seller, him, whatever. These people, treat the symptom, keep them on the street. And that right there is the absolute definition of abuse. So we're going to leave it at that. All I'm telling you is they're losing the battle bad. Desperation is just dripping out of all of them, that they're even trying to bring in the common enemies. Good luck.